Hi, Supreme Gecko and Isopod fans. Today we are going to spend some time in the bug room while I feed. So come on and join me. I'm going to start out with the dubias. And shift a little bit here so I can get to dishes. I'm going to put in some of the Supreme feeder foods. A little bit of crystals for some water.
And I'm going to jump in here and ask some questions, but this is not a breeder bin, right? This
is a feeder bin.
This is a feeder bin. So we're pulling the feeders right out of here. And is this babies or
that was
mediums?
Babies. Now we're going to go to the breeders.
So I'm trying to think of how big of a bin this is. We just cleaned these out. We're running how many females and males in here, Nanette?
I don't remember what I put in, to be honest.
I think it's about 50 females and about 10 to 15 males.
Yeah.
So what are you adding here?
I've got some carrots, potato peels from tonight's dinner, and our feeder food for them. There's separate dishes for each of those items in there.
So you can see these racks that we have, they contain 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 8 different bins.
And these dishes are all empty in here that we're just adding now too. I'm going to give them carrots and potatoes tonight.
So we feed every other day, and in 2 days they've emptied all of the food here.
Most of it will be gone by the end of tonight, because these guys are piggies.
Now you can see the ventilation on these tubs, maybe. We've got ventilation on the sides, and we have ventilation on the top as well. Oh, I'm sorry, just ventilation on the sides.
Some of them have it on the top. It depends on the type of container. Now, if Wally wasn't in here doing this, I'd be done in 15 minutes. So we're going to see how long this will take tonight with him
interrupting.
And I wasn't going to say interrupting.
Are you seeing any babies in here whatsoever? We just collected babies, and I mean we collected a lot of
there's
babies.
a few.
A lot of babies.
Yeah, we did. I think there's 3 containers of babies in here. Alright. There's 3 down.
So those babies, we absolutely need babies for our baby geckos and our adult geckos because they're so small. So we need newborn dubias to just about 2 to 3 week old dubias. And that sustains us probably when we collect about once a month. That will sustain us even though we're also ordering mealworms and feeding crickets and feeding fruit flies as well. Feeding a lot of dubias. And I'm sure it's noisy here, folks, but you can just see how it's going.
Quarters too.
Looks like maybe this container doesn't have as many. I can see a couple of babies running around.
There's some babies. There's babies right here.
So again, we just cleaned this a week ago.
Last week, yeah, and there's a bunch of babies on the bottom. Whole bunch.
You can see we don't have these containers packed, but it's just enough. So Nanette, you're putting in water crystals,
carrots, and potatoes.
So what are we putting the water crystals in for?
For hydration.
For hydration. Show me the cap that you're putting it in. So we have these black cups. I think they're probably about 3 to 4 ounces.
Yep.
About 2 inches in diameter, in radius.
And I only put that in every other feeding. Otherwise, they get buggy.
They get buggy, like dubia buggy?
Yeah, like...
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Oh, look at the babies in this one.
Folks, this was just clean.
We just harvested.
These guys are just going
Look at this.
A lot of dubia grass in there already.
Happy container. dishes.
So we're going to feed these dubia. We have some dwarf whites in this room. We have some mealworms, some beetles, and some worms in here. We have springtails. We don't have our regular mealworms that we're feeding off. We don't have any crickets right now because we just finished our last batch of crickets. But I'm going to talk about these mealworms in just a second, and there's going to be a couple of key points that are coming up here. There's a really, really good look at how we're feeding these. So Nanette's going to dump the crystals in. She's going to put the Supreme feeder food in. You can see how green that feeder food is. There's a reason for it being so green. What's the reason, Nanette?
Because it's got all the veggie in it for them.
We've got like 160 different ingredients in
there's
there.
A ton.
There's not 160. There's probably,
Feels
I
like
think
it.
there's 14 if I remember right. We put a ton in. We've been using this feeder food for now, oh my gosh, like 15 years. This was a recipe that we started putting together about 15 years, and we've been using it for that whole period of time, and just came on the market with it actually on our store.
Also, these carrots were already rinsed.
Yeah, good point. So
Rinsed
she's washing
everything
off
down.
all of these vegetables before they go in here, just to make sure. You can see this dubia coming up to check things out.
They got bonus tonight because
food.
they get potato peels.
I'll tell you, Nanette's going to town. So we have, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we have 12 different adult containers.
Yes, we do.
You can see the babies already scurrying away. I tell you, in just a couple of days, they have cleaned house on the food here. I tell you, Nanette is so efficient. She's got her food there. She's got her crystals. Top comes off, food goes in, top goes on, next container. I'm looking at the animals, I'm checking things, I'm counting each individual female. Taking forever, and it'll be done here in like no time.
Get her done.
Get her done.
Too many things. Get her done.
Okay, if you guys have questions about any of this, about how we have these set up, hopefully you're seeing this. If you have questions, leave them in the comments down below, and I will answer them, because I'm sure that we're missing parts of this because we're going to, well, I'm not going to, Nanette is going through this so quick. I'm just holding the camera.
We're not going to do slow motion.
No, we don't want to do slow motion.
Like I said, I'm trying to beat my time.
Is this like beat the clock?
Beat the clock. You know the game I play with everything I do. Beat the clock.
I do that when I'm driving. I try to drive fast and beat the clock. Just hammering away.
Okay, this is a baby bin that was just harvested.
So we just harvested it. I want to show you this, guys. This is all the babies, and I've already fed out of here 2 times. 2 different feedings for these babies. So she's going to put the food right on the ground. They'll just clean it up like crazy. You can see that there's babies in there. There's some, yeah, I wouldn't say mediums, but a little bit bigger babies. But
that way they don't get caught in dishes.
again, a week ago there were a lot of newborns out of there. So we mark the containers. Looks like I put that one in backwards, but we don't have a number on it. But we mark the containers. I'll get a shot here. Small and medium for me to pull for different animals that I'm feeding. It's kind of funny. So you're going to ask, does Nanette look at all of those? Look at all. So these are the mediums, right?
These must be medium feeders. Yeah, this must be the medium group that you did, that you didn't mark.
So that I didn't mark. I guess I didn't. So you're going to ask, why is Nanette doing the feeders? Nanette, why are you doing these feeders instead of me? Seems like you do all the work around here.
You are allergic to dubias.
I am highly allergic to dubias, and believe it or not, folks, right now I'm kind of starting to struggle in breathing. So in about a minute or so, I'll probably just pass out here.
Great.
I'll drop the camera.
And I can't pick you up because I'm on this side.
That's
You're on
okay.
your own tonight.
Just kind of walk over me and
I'll just kick you to the side.
kick me to the side.
This is mediums that we harvested too.
So we'll feed
You've been
these.
feeding out of.
We'll feed these mediums to leopard geckos. We'll feed them to some of our crested geckos that are growing out. Is that all the dubias, or is this one more batch here?
Oh, I fed this one. That's all the dubias.
Yeah, there's a small, mark small. Okay, the container right behind Nanette here that's turned backwards, that is Firebrats, and that's the only one in this whole room that I feed. I feed it flake food, and I give it water every couple of days, 3 days.
All right.
What are you doing now?
This is dwarf whites
Okay, and why did you switch foods here?
because I'm feeding them the isopod chow.
What isopod chow?
Supreme isopod chow.
Oh, of course. Giving them a little bit of water. I don't see any at the top, so they're all buried. Now, give us like 5 minutes and they will be covered. The surface will be covered with these dwarf whites. It's just crazy. Here's a secret, folks. Here's a secret. So these dwarf whites, you can see that we have some leaves in there, and then that's putting in more leaves. Throwing away the stems. She's taken after me. I hate stems in anything because they just get in the way. But very, very important to have those leaves in there because they're very important to have those leaves in there. It looks like these finished off those leaves.
There's a bunch of dwarfs right there. Hiding out in the corner.
There you go. I tell you, these bins, folks, are just covered in dwarf whites. A little bit of food, a little bit of, what did you put in there? Potatoes and...
I put a potato in this one.
Cool. So you can see we don't have one
And if
bin.
there's food in there, I take it out.
You can see that we don't have one bin of dwarf whites. We have many, many different dwarf whites. And that's on purpose. It's just different life cycles of the dwarf whites. We'll start them up. We'll start up 2 or 3 and let them go. And we'll, after they get to be about 2, 3, 4 months of age, then what we do is we start harvesting them for our orders. And we're shipping out a lot of dwarf whites here. Then we'll harvest them, and as we go through them, then we'll start up 2 or 3 more tubs.
And if there's food that was not eaten, I take it out of vegetable.
Otherwise,
Check for moisture. Otherwise, I add in fresh.
do the vegetables ever mold in here?
No, because I always take them out, but they could.
Okay,
You're trying to trick me,
I'm trying to trick you.
and it didn't work. So
I would have given you a zonk if you would have answered
I
wrong,
know you would have.
but you're right there. I wanted to mention, we saw these dubia containers, I don't know, I think they're probably about 30 quarts, maybe they're 40 quarts, I can't remember.
Dubia container.
Yeah, I'll have to look after the video and put that on the video itself. Some post-editing. I can start feeling my breathing a little bit heavier here, so hopefully we're pretty close. I'm sure we're pretty close. But anyways, those tubs are about, I think about 40 quarts, maybe 35. Anyways, how big were the tubs that we used in the past, Nanette?
Oh my God, those were like super, super long. I don't know, 50, 60 quarts.
I think that they
They
were
were way too
110. I
Way.
literally do think that they were 110. So these tubs were 110 quarts, and we had, I want to say, 6 of them going in this room.
Yeah, it was hard.
Does that sound right?
It was hard to maneuver.
4, 5, 6. Yes. Now we have 12 smaller containers, and the reason is that it's just that much easier to work with smaller ones. So we have less bugs in each one. It takes us a little bit more time to clean. It takes us a little bit more time to feed. But the big thing is, the super big thing is that they're so much easier to manage, each and every single one of them. That's why I hate stems right there, because they can get stuck on the lid, and then the animals can climb out of the tub. Looks like that tub was a little dry.
Well, this tub, I think, is the one that's like getting ready to rotate out.
Yeah, so we've harvested quite a bit out of
We've
here.
A lot, and this will be the one I target next.
Yeah.
to clean out and start fresh.
It's interesting. We have different duties here at Supreme Gecko. Nanette handles, obviously, the bug room. She also does all of the shipping, but she does especially the shipping, and for show, she gathers these dwarf whites and the springtails. So she's really in tune with what's going on in here, especially for those animals. You can see those dwarf whites were simply dirt, moist, again with leaves, and that was about it. So right now we're looking at beetles. These are mealworm beetles, and you're going to ask, is this what I use for feeding the geckos? It is not. It absolutely is not. These are backups. So one of the things that I dread, that I fear, is running out of baby mealworms for our baby geckos. For the adults, they'll go for a little bit without, if it's the middle of winter or if it's the middle of summer and we can't get insects in here, then I always want something to be able to feed the babies. So we have these cultures going here just in case. And you can see there's a ton. Pick up one of those tops when you get a chance. There's a ton of beetles in here. And what we'll do is every couple of weeks we'll pull the whole tub. We'll replace the beetles into another tub. And I'm going to see if we can get a view of this. Probably not. Go ahead and reach in there and pull a whole handful.
Reach in there, he says.
Reach in there. Okay, just put it down and let it put it down. And I don't know if you can see it just swarming.
They're starting to.
There's thousands and thousands and thousands.
Give it a half an hour and they'll be all over that.
Yeah.
You and your supplies in here. Oh, look at these.
I'm a
dwarfs.
hoarder.
These are all springtails in here. I think these were a special springtail, and they've been separated. Those purples. Trying to get them going.
Okay, now we're pulling,
I've got
I don't know.
7. 6
You have
or 7 here.
6 or 7 containers of springtails. This is how we do springtails, folks. There are tons in here. So we'll pull out these pieces of wood. We'll shake them onto a 19 quart when we're getting ready for a show or for shipping out. We ship Mondays and usually Mondays and Tuesdays.
Out of space in here, right?
What? We're running out of space? That can't be right.
Working space. We need like a fold-down countertop.
Like a diaper changing table?
Yeah, there you go. Let's get one of those.
No, that's not a bad idea.
Let's get one of those in here again.
So this used to be, she missed the garbage can there.
I did not.
Yeah, you did. So this used to be a bathroom. And I'll give this...
This used to be, not she.
This used to be a bathroom. This was the whole downstairs. Well, half of the downstairs was a daycare area. We converted this space right here that was a washroom, toilet, and a diaper changing area.
On the wall. Should have kept it.
And we changed it out
I missed that
into
too.
a bug room, because you can see right behind the net there, and I've got the door open. Otherwise it would be even warmer, but it usually is about 80 degrees in here. She is cranking, folks. This would have taken me a half
An hour.
I could have done it in a half
Yeah,
hour.
you wouldn't do this in a half an hour, I guarantee it.
Tons of springtails in this one.
Because you'd be like looking at everything to make sure everything looked to the way you wanted it. Not me. Feed it and run. Get her done.
Get her done. That's our topic for the night. That's our motto. So these were the 15 quarts. And that's going to reach down and grab the 27 quarts.
They did not eat their carrots.
What other vegetables do you feed here?
Squash sometimes. boys.
Let's see if we can get a close-up. It's so hard with springtails, but you can see these things are just loaded, loaded, loaded. And again, so we'll ship Mondays and Tuesdays, and we'll take the springtails out of all these bins and ship them out. Generally, that's how it happens. And by the next week, they're already full again. One more. So I think we've covered everything in this room. We have a couple of supplies. We have a gray bench behind Nanette. Hopefully we can see that in a second here. Just holding some supplies. We have our fruit fly coffee filters up there. I make a lot of fruit flies here. Another food for baby geckos. But you can see there's a ton going in here. And this supports, other than, you know, we're ordering probably about 40,000 mealworms and probably about 20,000 crickets every single month. But this is our primary food, though.
We are done feeding all the bugs.
It took you a lot longer this time. Usually you've done it about 10.
If you weren't in here, I would have been done like 10 minutes ago.
I tell you what, folks, if you have questions, like I said before, go ahead and leave them in the comments. We've got another really cool segment on raising mealworms. I'm going to go ahead and show it right here. Click on it because there's a couple of tips in there that you want to watch. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Thanks for watching.